Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to On the Verge, your conservative voice of Southern Oregon podcast. I'm your host, Representative Virgil Osborne, and today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, and it's St. Patrick's Day.
Igora.
Yeah, so we have a very awesome guest with us tonight, plus we have my co-host, Trent. I'll let Trent real quick introduce himself as well, although I think everybody knows who he is.
Hi, everybody. Trent Drake. I am the Douglas County Republican Central Committee Chair, Virgil's campaign manager.
Right on. Thanks for being my co-host. And we have a special guest with us on tonight. We have Chris Dudley that's actually on here tonight. And I'm just going to go ahead and normally we go through a bunch of other stuff first. But Chris, I know we only have you for a short time. And I think it's important to let you have a few minutes to kind of tell us who you are. And so please, by all means, introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Virgil. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate it. And Chris Dudley, running for governor, and I ran in 2010 and back to run again, and passionate about this state. We announced about 5 weeks ago. We've had tremendous energy, been crisscrossing the state. I think I've heard that we've done 4,000 miles in the past 40 days, getting out everywhere, doing meet and greets. Roundtables, and I will tell you, there's an energy out there, and excited about changing Oregon. And I think we would agree that we have to change the path that we're on right now, and passionate about doing so. So thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. I think you're 100% right. I'm serving in the legislature. I've seen in the 4 years, 4 sessions, I guess I've been there. I have seen the state really go from what was not great to something that all I can describe it as is worse. And I think that the only way we can really turn this thing around, I think, and get it back on the track is we either need to change the House numbers, the Senate numbers, or the governor, because those are the three things that matter. And I believe that we have a good shot this year, because I think Kotek's record is pretty much the worst in the country. In my opinion, definitely the worst in the country. So what do you see different now than what was happening in 2010 that you think maybe, what do you see?
Well, so there are similarities in that in 2010, there was a super minority in the House and the Senate, like there are today. And Republicans were feeling a little down and feeling like it was tough to win. And the first step was getting that energy going and saying, no, we can win. And that's something I've been doing as I've been crossing state. Who said, listen, the governor has a 65% disapproval rating. Nothing is better under her leadership. In fact, I asked someone to come up with one thing that's better in the last 4 years or the last 12 years since she was Speaker of the House and then governor, and I can't come up with one thing. And what I'm seeing is in 2010, we were able to run a campaign and get a lot of energy behind it, and a campaign that resonated across party lines, and closest election in the last 70 years. It was, to give the sports analogy, we lost in double overtime. We had it won on Tuesday and lost it on Thursday. And Virgil, what I would say that was a real silver lining in that election, and obviously I'm very competitive, and I wanted to do that. But the silver lining for me was that I ran with House and Senate candidates and had a great campaign working with them. And I think by working together, by the end of the election, we were balanced. The state was balanced. It was 30-30 in the House, 14-16 in the Senate. And it really put the state in a good place where you had to negotiate. Unlike now, you had to negotiate with each other. So I do think it's important what that message is coming from the top of the ticket, and then coordinating, working together and saying, hey, we're on this together, because as governor, obviously I don't want to have super minorities. I want to have some power in the legislature. I'd like to get it to balance. And so I think it's really important about getting that going. And you asked about the difference between then and now. Back then, my Democratic friends would say, you know what, you're right, we are off track, but we can course correct, we can get it back. I don't hear that now. Now more the description I hear is dumpster fire. It's like it's not working, and there's a real recognition there that it's not working. And again, you have to have the right message and messenger to connect to get those votes. But I get a lot of outreach from obviously from independents, obviously from Republicans, but I get a lot of positive feedback from Democrats who say we've got changes.
Yeah. It's funny because people don't understand that Kotek was the Speaker of the House for, I think, 9 years before she was actually elected as governor. So when you hear, and I hear Democrats in my district say, we want change, we need change, I'm going, you guys have had, 12 years, 14 years, almost 13 years of the same thing. We want change too. So let's
we agree on that.
Well, and I think, Chris, I think you understand this. I mean, probably the three most powerful positions in state government is the governor, the president of the Senate, and the Speaker of the House. Because any one of those three can choose not to listen to a bill. They don't have to put, just because we present a bill, that doesn't mean they have to assign it to a committee, and they don't have to give it a hearing, doesn't have to get a work session. But yet, one of the things that they do is they have their agenda and they run their agenda. So that's why 70% of the bills that go through the legislature right now, I believe, are Democrat bills. And I don't remember, there's actually some that are governor bills. I mean, the numbers are way off. I mean, right. I know that when Commissioner Freeman when he was in this position in the legislature, and Bruce Hanna was also in the legislature,
yeah.
Those were the years that the 30 years. And I think they had to negotiate back and forth, and they didn't hear bills that didn't make sense.
Right.
Yep.
So I'd love to see that come back.
I remember working with Bruce back in the day, and he was a friend. And anyway, that was the real silver lining of that election. It was the biggest pickup in the legislature maybe ever in Oregon's history, because we picked up 6 in the House and 2 in the Senate. And again, I think it's so important to have that message that resonates across party lines, and have that messenger or have somebody who was coordinating, working with making outreach and working with the candidates who are trying to flip seats. It's super important.
Yeah, I think so too. I also think it's important that just in my position, and I come obviously from a very red district here in Southern Oregon, but I represent everybody, and not just the Republicans and not the Democrats. I represent a portion of everybody. There are those fringe people that on both parties that just hate me because you can't do anything right. So they would say that I don't represent them. But from what I've seen from your campaign, I feel like you're kind of that guy. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah. No, I'm. And first of all, you mentioned representing your entire district. And that should be something that's a given, right? But it's just so often that it's not. And that's something, as a governor, as I've traveled the state, I would tell people I'm going to represent the entire state of Oregon. And that goes to Eastern Oregon, Southern Oregon, the coast, where, as you know, you have the Greater Idaho movement, used to be the state of Jefferson, the coast feels left. So much of the state does not feel like it is represented, does not feel like it has a seat at the table. And that's something I've said, that as governor, you need to represent everywhere. And I think there's so many opportunities away from the I-5 corridor. Obviously, I'm still gonna govern the I-5 corridor and be engaged there, but
sure.
Also not at the neglect of the rest of the state. And I think that's really important. And it's unfortunate that we've gotten that situation where it's discarded or taken for granted, the rest of the state not really cared about. And that's become a real problem that so many people feel left out.
Yeah. So on that note, in this district in Southern Oregon, and I would say probably in Port Boyce's district too, Curry County, Coos County, Douglas County, for that matter, Jackson County, Josephine County, we were at one point very, very heavy in timber.
Yeah.
Roseburg was the timber capital of the world when I was a kid, and we really were. I mean, there were so many mills here, and of course the spotted owl thing, and then Endangered Species Act came along, and that kind of kiboshed our timber industry, and then now recently Trump has kind of tried to open that back up. I don't think Governor Kotek has ever given any concern to the timber industry. I think that the rural Oregon folks are more of a nuisance to her than they are anything else. Tell me a little bit about what you would do with our timber industry, because for me, that's a super important part of our community.
It absolutely is. And I was just, I don't know, it's a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I was down in Coos Bay and toward Southport, and they're importing logs from British Columbia, from Canada, to mill in Coos Bay. It's ridiculous. And right now, in my opinion, we're in a lose. And by that, I mean that we've lost the jobs that people depend on, that are good paying jobs. We've lost the revenue for the counties, as you know, how dependent, especially when 50, 60, 70% of your county is timberland that you can't get taxes, property taxes from.
53% actually.
What's that?
53% of the land here is owned by the feds.
Oh yeah, no, overall, but some counties it's greater than that.
Yeah.
For the state it's 53, but some counties it's even more. And then the third part, where it's a lose is, I would argue that it's a lose environmentally. That right now, if you're not managing your forests, we're having these catastrophic wildfires every summer, and that is not only destroying our forests, but it's bad for the environment as well. So in my opinion, you have to flip that and get a win-win-win, where you have more jobs, more revenues for the county to be able to provide for services, and for the environment, it's better off that you are managing the forest. And I will have that conversation. Obviously, you understand that where you are in Roseburg, but I'll have that conversation in Portland, and I'll say, make that same argument. And to my friends in Portland or the other areas that aren't familiar with timber, I'll tell them. I said, imagine if your front yard, you didn't manage it or do anything to it for 20 years, 30 years. Do you think it would become a fire hazard? It's like, oh yeah, And so I do think there's obviously federally, I know the administration's pushing to loosen it up, but I do think I think there's an ability to say, hey, we've got to get to a more balanced approach than where we are now. We have to get back to where we are managing our forests, creating more jobs. And by the way, it's not good for the environment what we're doing now. The environmental argument to me has been lost, and what we're doing now is not working. And as with conservatives, conserve is part of that. You care about the environment, and I just had this conversation with someone in Portland last week. I said, the rest of the state, they really resent when you say they don't care about the environment. Of course they care about the environment. It's fifth generation, whether it's fifth generation fishermen, timber, agriculture, ranchers, they want that to be left to the next couple generations. They don't want to destroy it any more than you do. They want to manage it. They want to be able to enjoy it. They want to be able to hunt, fish, enjoy it, use the woods, but also be able to manage it and have the jobs and the revenues that come from it. So I really think there's an opportunity here. And that's one of the, as governor, you have the power of the pulpit to push these messages, to be able to talk about it and really push that debate, which I think needs to be had, that discussion.
Oh yeah, clearly our current governor does a lot of executive orders that she can push her agenda through that, if nothing else. I want to talk about something else too, and if there's something you really want to get out, also, I'm just kind of going through some things that I think are important, but that doesn't mean that everything I think is important. So a couple of issues. I want to talk about the homeless issue, and I know everybody has an opinion on what to do to fix it, and frankly, let me give you my opinion first, and then tell me what you think. But this is my just in a quick 2-second nutshell here. I feel like the state has thrown dollar and dollar and dollar in the garbage because we are not addressing the reason why people are homeless. I also feel that Governor Kotek in 23, in that session, she came in front of us at the legislature and she said, we're going to need to build 36,000 homes, which I agree. I think that we do have a home shortage, which is part of the reason why the price of homes are pushed up so high right now. And we've never been able to hit more than, I think, 13,000. But I don't think you can just put somebody in a home and all of a sudden the homeless issue is fixed.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, the housing's a component of it, but the housing first model has, in my opinion, has failed. And it's just common sense that if you have somebody who's mentally ill or drug addicted and you put them in a new apartment, what do you think is going to happen? And it's not going to work. And you have to focus those core. We have an addiction problem. We have a mental illness problem. And there are some cases where they need a hand up, no, without question. And shelter is important in those circumstances. But we have a real addiction problem. And the addiction, more damage was done with Measure 110. Lives were lost. And the governor, fingerprints are all over that. And this becomes personal to me, Virgil. I've spent a lot of time, whether it's in Portland and Old Town, Wallace Park down in Salem, Dirt World up in the Redmond area, spending time with homelessness, being in the areas, getting to know what's going on. And, I'm there, I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago, I'm talking with a young man, he's probably in his 20s, kind of telling me his path, how he got there. And, find out a week later, he's overdosed and no longer with us on fentanyl. And I'm taking the tack. I'm going to be very aggressive that we have to remove the poison from our streets. And I'm not even going to say, because drug, you get caught up in the marijuana. I'm not talking about, there's the other drugs that we have issues with that we can debate, but I'm talking about what I'll call the poison that is literally killing Oregonians. Literally killing Oregonians right now. The fentanyl, the tranq, those drugs you do once, twice, 3 times, and they kill you, or they put you in a place where you can't function. And I was telling someone this story. I was actually in Boardman, literally last week, and a lady comes up to me after I'm talking about this, and she goes, and I knew this, but she says, it's not just in the cities with these drugs, it's everywhere. And she says, just last week, my granddaughter died. She overdosed on fentanyl. She thought she was smoking marijuana, but there was fentanyl in it, and it killed her. And it's like, we have got to get that off our streets. We absolutely have to come down hard on that. And to get back to the homeless, you have to, if you don't address the addiction problem, you're always going to be chasing your tail on the homeless issue. You have to cut it off, and you have to be able, I shouldn't be able to walk down the street, for example, in Portland on Broadway on Monday at 9 a.m. and watch a drug deal go down in broad daylight. I should not be able to see that. And I should not be able to know where the drug deals are and where they're going and what's happening. I've been down there just in a couple hours. I know exactly how it does, where to go if you want drugs, and we have to turn that around.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you're right. It is a problem. It's statewide. I mean, I think you see it more in the cities because it's more concentrated. But frankly, Douglas County, where we live down here, the homeless issue has just gone crazy wild. And I also feel like that they come to the rural areas because they're not going to be bothered and they're safer. I think that the homeless camps in Portland and the bigger cities have gotten to the point where they're not safe in their own camps because they rob from each other and or whatever the case may be. And so they look for the rural communities to come and set up roots. And yeah, it's crazy. We did have some stuff coming online here, some questions. Eddie Renfro is asking, stance on logging old burns and getting the area replanted. And I realize in Douglas County, that most of those old burns are federal lands, but I think we probably know where you stand on that. But if you want to comment on it, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and obviously if it's federal, that's a different issue. But I do think replanting, I think clearing it out, getting what's burned down, getting that out of there. And I believe we have to manage our forests, do a better job. And Virgil, one thing I did want to hit on was housing, because you mentioned housing and the governor's. Part of the reason we haven't had a governor that's had a business background in over 40 years. Right. And she wants, we just need to create more houses. Well, yeah, I do too, but you got to understand what makes up housing. And right now in much of the state, because of the land costs, the lack of availability of land, because of the permitting costs, but also time, how it's been delayed, that a lot of builders, and all over the state, are telling me even before they break ground, we are above the cost that the median household can afford in the state of Oregon. Even before they've done broken ground, even done one thing, after the land costs and permit. We have to, and I support I think Oregon was visionary in its land use planning, in the thoughts of it, protecting farmland, protecting timber, protecting agriculture. But that was done 50 years ago, and it needs modifications. We have to have more land available for housing, and we also have to reduce our permitting costs and streamline the process. What is often not understood, because they don't have the business background, is that when I was in Redmond and the developer was telling me what used to take 18 days to get permitted now takes over a year and a half, is the time cost of money. That not only is that slow everything down, obviously, but it also makes it less affordable because of the cost of money and you would understand this, that when capital is tied up for long periods of time, there is a cost to that. And it's just that disconnect of where they don't seem to understand that. That's really important. And to get that mindset that actually understands the business behind it, the fundamentals, the economics behind it is really important. So anyway, let's get back.
Yeah, it's very true. I'm often in committee because I sit on the business development committee in the state, and I just cringe because I'm sitting there with a group of legislators that the majority of which have never signed the backside or the front side of a paycheck.
No, exactly. And one thing I wanted to add in there was, as governor, you have a number of powers, and I talked about the power of the pulpit to be able to talk about these different messages. One that's often overlooked is the power of appointment. In Oregon, we have close to 300 boards and commissions, as well as agency heads, judges, and not one person on those boards or commissions has been appointed by a Republican governor. Not one. Unless there's somebody who was appointed in '86 is still around. I don't think so. But the point is that just restoring some balance to those boards, commissions, agencies, and to have people there that understand what the impact will be on the business when they put those forward. So often that's missing. They don't understand the impact of whatever that rule, regulation, or tax might be, what it's going to do to that business, how it slows down the process, how it makes it more expensive. And we've just gotten so one-sided, we have to restore that balance.
So I know we only have you for a half hour, so I want to catch you with a few more things before you leave. But
yeah, please.
This kind of pertains to a question that Troy Wilder asked. He said online here just a few minutes ago, he said, so we're really good at identifying the problems. What are we going to do to fix them? And so let me expand on that question just a little bit. What would you do if you're elected as governor? What would you do to address all of the issues? And we have problems across the board. I mean, what would be your first, I don't know, 90 days, what would you do?
Yeah, so I'm running on my key areas of I'm running on platform education, where we happen to be fourth grade testing 50th in the country, 47th overall. The economy, where we happen to be 47th in job creation, 46th is the place to do business, and livability, where I talking about affordability and safety. First thing I would do as governor coming in on education, I'd say we're a state of emergency. When you're 50th in the country, and I feel like sometimes I have to remind people there's only 50 states. So yes, that does mean we are dead last in fourth grade testing, and 47th overall. We are in a state of emergency, and there's a number of things that I will do there. And I can go, I don't know how much time, but Mississippi Miracle, where we focus on the science of reading. Really get back to basically it's phonics, how we teach reading, how we do things, accountability in schools. Look at the amount of time that we're spending in class. I'll give you a quick sports analogy here. It's imagine that your team is dead last. When you're 50th, you're dead last. And imagine if should that team have the least amount of practice time of any other team? And most people would say no. Well, that's what we're doing right now. We have the least amount of seat time of any state in the union because we have the third shortest days in school and the highest absentee rate of the state. So there's a number of things of education. So education, state of emergency, we're focusing on that. We're diving in. Economy, we're open for business. And the first thing I will be able to say is, as governor, now you guys got to get out of the super minority, which I will definitely be helping on. But as governor, I can veto anything coming through, and will veto anything. I can look a business owner in the eye and say, I'm going to veto anything that doesn't make sense. Because right now, coming out of every session, businesses, what craziness is coming next. And
you would have killed half two-thirds of the session that we just were in.
Yeah, no, exactly. And say, hey, we're putting a stop to that. And then embrace it. What can we do? Let's look at our tax structure. Let's do audits of different departments. We're going to audit ODOT. We're going to audit what we're doing with homelessness because it's just not working. With livability, focused on safety. I talked a little bit about that with drugs, but we're 48th in the amount of officers per capita. Look at how we want streets that are safe. We want parks that are safe, forests that are safe. What are we doing there? And affordability is a big one. And, one that I'm running on and passionate about, it pains me, and the numbers, you get where you know all the numbers and the details, but there's stories. And I know you get this, the stories behind all the numbers that drive you every morning to get you going. And it's right now, over half our state is living month to month. And that's hard. And that's the stress, the anxiety that goes with it. I experienced that when I was a kid. I remember with my mom that, the car breaks down or whatever, get an unexpected bill. How are we going to pay for that? And that stress that is out there. And we talk about, and I've talked about the high-end tax rate, especially in Portland. It's the second highest in the nation to New York City. But what's often overlooked is working class are the highest taxed in the country. So if you go 200 grand or even 100 grand, $100,000 and less, we have the highest personal income tax rate in the country. And one thing I've said is on day one, I want to change that. I'm going to be pushing, and we'll need your help, but pushing to lower the tax rate on the first $100,000 of earned income to help people be able to afford to live here in the state. And again, those messages that I'm running on, education, economy, livability, are messages that resonate across party lines, and I think help us to win not just the governorship, but help with everybody across the board take back our legislature, because those are so important. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Independent, Republican. You want good schools. You want jobs available. You want to be able to afford to live here. You want your kids to be able to afford to live where they grew up. You want safe streets. Let's get back and focus on those core issues. And I think as someone, I think it's to my advantage coming as an outsider to say, hey, I get the partisanship, but I'm here to get serious things done because we got serious problems. I want to bring us together and get these problems done and talk about them and get it focused on those core issues and get away from some of the nonsense we've been dealing with. And let's get back. Oregon deserves better. It deserves better than what we've been doing here. And I want my kids, who are sixth generation Oregonians and their eventual grandkids to want to stay here, but be able to afford to stay here, get a job, and enjoy life here. So those are the issues that are driving me.
That was a great answer. And listen, Chris, you can have the whole hour if you want it.
well, I can go a couple more minutes. I know we just have to be somewhere at 7. Anyway, so I'm good for another 5.
Yeah. No. I really appreciate you coming on. It's good to get to know you. I met you in Salem here a few weeks ago at an event. I think it was a cattleman's event. Or something like that. I do want to
and I do have cattle. I'm a member of the Cattlemen's Association. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're taller than I am, which is
So not for me.
At that event, there was a guy that I can't remember his name, but he was taller than me, and he probably outweighed me by at least 100 pounds. I'm sure you shook his hand. He looks at me when I walked in the door. He says, "I'm glad to see there's normal people here."
Yeah, exactly.
But I want real quick. Tough on crime. Today I met with 3 officers in Myrtle Creek. We talked about some stuff that had to do with online sex trafficking and sex predators and that type of thing. And there's a lot of ORSs that are simply just out of date because of AI and other things like that. And I'm going to be bringing some stuff to the legislature in the next session. But I am super tough on crime, and I'm kind of known for that, right? And I know you're running out of time, but just tell us your stance on crime. I mean, where are you with that?
Well, I think it's simple. I mean, I think we have to enforce the laws that are on the books, restore accountability. And this is in a lot of different areas. We need accountability back, where if you do a crime, my son-in-law, who was actually with me, you may have met Dylan. He's been
Yeah, I met him.
he's great guy, and he's been helping me. He's taken a leave of absence from the Redmond Police Force, and we would talk about it. And it pained me when you come home, we talk about it, and hopefully I'm not talking out of school here, but he would come back and say, somebody they arrested threatened to kill him and kill his family, and that guy gets released the next day. And I'm like, what are we doing? If I joke around and say something that going through TSA, I'm having a longer penalty than this guy is, who broke the law and then threatened to kill an officer and kill the officer's family. And it's like, where do we've lost our way. And talking with officers, they will say, even the people who are doing it, people want accountability. They actually do. And I think having laws in place that we enforce, and we just have to get back to in society where you follow laws, you treat people with respect, you do different, it's like, we just have to get back to that for treating people well and enforcing, part of that's enforcing our laws that are on the books. And we have to look at it, and we're literally killing people with compassion, especially when it comes to drugs. And so I'm empathetic. I say leadership is about empathy and accountability. And right now, in my opinion, we have neither, because it's not empathetic what we're doing, and we've lost accountability. You need to have both. It's kind of maybe a better tough love might be the way of saying it, where you care about the person, you want to help the person, but they got to help themselves, and there's a give and take there. And I really feel like we've lost that in so many areas right now.
Compassion comes with accountability. Trent, do you have anything for you? I got one more thing.
Yeah, I do actually, and I kind of want to go backwards just a little bit. One of the things I used to enjoy in your playing days, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
We'd go to a Blazer game, we'd park under the bridge, walk up to the stadium, go to a game. Now you drive through that area where we used to park, which is right below the Moda Center. I mean, I wouldn't get on my car without a gun.
I know.
And I know the Portland mayor has a lot to do with that. What would be your move to push the city government into taking care of that?
That's where the power of the pulpit, as governor, having that power of the pulpit is very, very important. And there's a recognition of what even people living in Portland are fed up with it. And, Portland's not going to recover until, let alone I feel comfortable walking the streets, and, but not until I would have my wife and my daughter walk the streets and feel comfortable. You have to restore that, not just for all the citizens. As Virgil was saying earlier, homeless are moving out because they don't feel safe there. It's like, we have to restore that. And if it's I'm an optimist by nature. I think Oregon has so much going for it. It's incredibly beautiful. That was the real blessing of traveling all over the state, is you just get reminded how beautiful it is across the state. We have so much going for it, but we have to work on our self-inflicted wounds. We have to change our self-inflicted wounds. And I think one of them is frankly, if you want places to recover, people have to feel safe. And that's a big component of it. And it's sad what's happened. And where I say I'm an optimist is once you get that, where people feel good about it, want to come back, want to walk around, I think then businesses come back. And a lot of these buildings are selling at 70% discounts right now. If they see, all they have to see is some green shoots, see some light at the end of the tunnel. And I believe you can get people to come back in. And as governor, I'm going to be a salesman for the state. I'm going to sell the state, advertise the state, and work with businesses and promote the state. And I think there's so much we can do. But to get back to your original question, as governor, you have the power of the purse, is power of the pen, but the power of the pulpit to put the spotlight on those issues, talk about them, and address them is very important.
Amen. So listen, we've kept you 5 minutes over what we said we would already. So I just want to, in closing, what's next for you?
Well, I'll have to look at the schedule, traveling all over, and just as you know, just getting all over the state and meeting with people, doing events. There's a ton of work to be done, and I'm excited. The energy I'm feeling out there is really is great, and I think it's fun for me to travel the state. You go to Eastern Oregon, Southern Oregon, different places. Where you are and be able to walk into rooms and say, no, your vote does matter. And I understand how you can get discouraged. I get it. I get where we feel like it, but your vote does matter. And if anybody can walk into this room and tell you that, it's me. Because I was in an election where I lost by 20,000 votes. And if everybody had turned out who should have, we wouldn't be in this situation we are. And it's just getting that energy out there and saying, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. My family has we say it's family motto. You have no right to complain unless you step up and do something about it, such as you've done. And I'm trying to do here and say that means it doesn't mean you have to run for office, but it does mean you have to vote. It does mean you have to talk to your friends. It does mean you have to get registered, make sure you're registered as a Republican to vote in a Republican primary, and get out there and talk to people and promote it. And let's change the state.
Yeah, amen. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. I could talk to you for hours. There's so many more questions.
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate it. Maybe we'll do it again because I enjoy it myself. I enjoyed getting to meet you and spend time with you even before the show. So I appreciate you both. And yeah, thank you both.
All right. Take care. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Take care. Take care, Virgil. Take care, Trent.
Wow, that was a lot.
Man.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So a couple of things. I should have pointed this out. I do believe that our homeless issue that we have here local is a city issue.
Yeah, Commissioner Freeman just shot me a little message.
Yeah, it's not a county issue.
I agree.
It is a city issue, and some of that is driven by state law.
And the bad stuff sneaking down here. Last week we had a death, right?
Yeah.
Across the street.
Yeah.
And then now they're finding other things that have been happening, and it's just
Yeah.
it's got to be dealt with.
So I want to address something that continues to come up in questions, and she's actually mentioned it. I think she mentioned it on my Facebook as well. And that's Tracy Olson. Tracy has high concern about our preparedness for natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes, whatever the case may be. Tracy, I don't know how connected you are or whether or not you've been involved in any of the planning. I just don't know you, so I can't. I can only say that there is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. That every day, especially in our county, I think our county, and again, not to brag about the commissioners and the sheriff, but we have a plan for just about every thing you can imagine. I mean, for wildfires, which I think we did a great job in 2020. We evacuated 30 miles of highway in the Arch Creek fire, and nobody died. Not even us. I mean, I was part of that. Rescuers were put into a situation where we had to work together, not just with search and rescue, but we work with the Sheriff's Department, we work with the Forest Service, and we work with the state police. All of those things happen all the time.
Yep.
There's training. In fact, we have a training coming up in I think it's in May for all the search and rescue units for the 9 southern counties. Some of them, 3 of them being in California. We get together and we do that kind of work. So Tracy, I don't know where you are. I don't know how informed you are. The state has a disaster plan, and you saw it happen with the March floods. Because
A year ago,
yeah. We have floods, we have fire, we have other issues, earthquakes potentially. It is very difficult to prepare for Cascadia event, right? I mean, you don't know when it's going to happen. It probably will happen. You don't know when it's going to happen, so you do everything you can to put your assets in place where you need them. Frankly, Douglas County probably does a better job than from what I've seen, and I am on the inside. I do work with our commissioners, and I do work with our sheriff's department. I don't think anybody does a better job that I've seen than what Douglas County does for disaster preparedness. And you see that building out there on Diamond Lake Boulevard and the equipment that's in it. If you haven't toured it, get with the commissioners; they will help you with that. So when I see, Tracy, you're commenting on a 2013 Oregon Resiliency Plan. Yes, there's lots of things that can be done. Maybe you and I should get together. We can have a meeting if you'd like, or maybe better yet, you should call our commissioners and talk to them, because if you're local, it would be a county concern for you. So, I think that's important. And if that doesn't quite, suit you, we can also put you together with some of the folks from the coast as well, because there is a plan.
Yep.
So, anyway, real quick, I want to touch base with our sponsors because we got a lot of them. and I have to say we're growing, which is amazing. For a conservative talk show, I love what we do. We love our people, all of the folks that come on, and frankly, comment and like and share and follow, because what happens is every time you do that, we grow a little bit. And 10 people tell 10 people each about us, and they come on and watch. At some point, your voice, because that's what we're here for. This isn't about my ego. I don't really have an ego in it. I just tell the truth. But that will actually help us to grow and get the message out. So with that, I'm gonna go first.
Go first.
I'm gonna introduce Becky Holmes Insurance. And I used to read her commercial, but tonight I'm not even gonna read it. I'm just gonna tell you, Becky Holmes is our insurance agent for Medicare, Medicaid, any of that type of issues. If you're turning 65 and you just have questions about Medicare, call her. She knows her stuff. I actually have had to use her for a few things. She's an amazing lady. She knows it. So call her for questions. She's licensed in a dozen states, located right here in Roseburg, Oregon, 541-900-6001. That's 541-900-6001. And Becky Holmes Insurance. And she's a great sponsor of ours too. So and a good friend. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. Well, our newest sponsor is Bob Murray Trucking.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off the cuff just a little bit too. Bob's a great guy. He's a great supporter of our organization. Anything that we do, events, he's always there to lend a hand. Donations, you name it. And he loves Doug. He's like us. We're born, raised here. Loves this area. Since 1980, Bob Murray Trucking has been hauling logs, equipment by flatbed, and hauling gravel. For your logging and heavy hauling needs, call Bob Murray today at 541-784-3737. And again, I got to spend about an hour with him last week, and he is a wonderful dude.
Yeah, he's probably watching tonight. I just spent 4 hours with him training for my CT 130 class, which is for wildfire. Being able to respond to a wildfire, I have to go through the training. And
Nice.
This year I stepped it up and actually went to a little bit higher level of training because I'm planning on doing some other extracurricular stuff. So, Bob, we love you. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate everything you do for us. And I can tell stories about how the guy just helps. He's just good with the community. Also, Andrea Williams, Advocare, another really good lady, good friend of mine. We use the product. I'm behind on my product, and she keeps telling me I need to come and get it. I'm bad. I'm sorry.
Make you thinner.
I know. Well, anyway, Andrea Williams, Advocare. She's a distributor on Facebook, so reach out. She'll help you get back on track in a realistic way. Or visit her website, healthyhabittribe.org. That's Andrea Williams, Advocare, healthyhabittribe.org.
Right on.
Yeah. Also, we have let's see, who else? Bill Hagedorn still with us?
I think so.
Yeah.
My phone died, so his thing's on my phone. So Bill Hagedorn Construction. See him on Facebook. He's got pictures of work in there. There might be a few pictures of my house. The guy's great at what he does. He's got it with reconstruction and remodel and stuff, but he does it all. So, and if he can't do it, he'll find you somebody who can. So check him out on Facebook. Bill, if you're watching, I'm so sorry, my phone died. I don't have the phone number.
He's going to burn your house down for that, but that's okay. Okay. We also have Senator David Brock Smith is also a big supporter of ours and part of our team. Yeah. We appreciate everything David does. He's running for the Senate seat now against Merkley. It sounds like his campaign's off the ground and doing well. So glad to see that. We support him, of course. And
Merkley's got to go.
Yeah, Merkley needs to go.
Yeah.
And also Commissioner Chris Boyce is a paying sponsor for our show as well. Chris, we appreciate everything you do. I know, it's just being a commissioner is hard.
Yep.
It's hard work. You try to make everybody happy. It's a nonpartisan position. So, you try to do the right thing, but it doesn't mean there's always a critic. I mean, even being a state rep, I got plenty of critics, but those guys got more than I do. So we appreciate what they do. Twin Peaks Off-Road, my company, is also a sponsor. And of course, Little Mill Media, they are the folks behind the camera here, making us look good. Trent look tall or something like that. Me looks good.
I know, it's amazing. I love this.
So, and I always say this, and I hadn't had a chance to say it, but if you don't like what we have to say, we're a conservative talk show. We only tell the truth, and we are a very conservative voice of Southern Oregon. If you don't like us, that's okay. Yeah. We don't require you to like us. You can watch us and listen. You can love us or hate us, But if you really, really want to do your own thing, come down here and see Justin at Little Mill Media. He can put it together for you, and you can have your own podcast, whatever meets your fancy. But until then, we appreciate you coming and watching what we have to say and listening to what we have to say. Okay, with that, there's a question here from Sue Douthit. Says, mentioned a legislative concept you're going to carry regarding sex crimes. What other concepts do you hope to champion? Well, this is the time, we're in the interim between sessions. This is the time when we get together with our constituents, and I do spend a ton of time in the field,
Yes.
speaking to folks. I tend to champion law enforcement. That's kind of my thing. Again, I met with some folks today regarding the sex crime stuff that's happening, and I don't get into the details of it for now, but those are things. I think there's probably 3, maybe 4 bills that we're going to try to run from that. I also am a champion for business, and I think that as people, if you have a concept, you have something you want to talk about, get in touch with me. There's lots of ways that I can help you in the legislature. It doesn't mean I'm going to win every time, but we're allowed like 25 bills, so plus 5 priority bills coming up in the session. So feel free to contact my office, and we will we'll listen to everybody. I mean, we meet with literally everybody, and I think I've been to about. They talk about this being a part-time job, but after you get back from session, I think we kick into full-time mode.
Right.
And we were already in full-time mode, so it's like 60 hours a week. Yeah. Trent, what do you have coming up?
We've got a few things coming up. So what day is the 30th?
I don't know. I have too many nights to sleep. But
I know.
today's 17th.
Anyway, next week's the 30th. We have our elected officials appreciation meet and greet. So our current incumbent Republican candidates that are already, they're the incumbents. We're doing a meet and greet at the Elks Lodge. And I believe that starts at 5 o'clock and it's free. So come in. Somehow I got tricked into being paid for the food, and well, the Central Committee did. I didn't pay for it myself. Anyways, you buy your own drinks, but put them on Virgil's tab, and come in. We're gonna have a little presentation and stuff. But meet these guys, talk to them. Every one of our candidates are incumbents. Are great guys. They're doing a lot of great work for the community. We spoke a lot about right here on the podcast. And I think we're even going to have Rick Wessenberg there.
Well, I was just going to ask you, so you'll have all 3 commissioners?
Yes.
Okay.
You and David's coming.
Right. State representative will be there.
and then-
Senator will be there. What about Representative Port Boyce?
I do not think he's going to be there. I think he's got another commitment, but I believe Alex is going to be there.
Okay.
And
did we
then
talk to Claire Lynn about? She's running.
we invited her.
Okay.
So I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
So, and I believe Monique Despain will be there, running for Congress.
Okay.
So going to be a fun night, be a fun few hours. It'd be kind of cool to meet some of you guys that are online that we don't ever get to see. That'd be kind of fun to have you come in and kind of see understand and meet these people up front. Ask them the real-time questions.
Well, and we, I don't know about all of us, but I like questions. I like it when people confront me with a question because, I don't always know the answer.
Yeah.
But I'm also not a very good politician. I pretty much tell you what I think.
Yeah.
And
well, you kind of got, you kind of pulled me and you into the hillbilly thing.
Yeah.
I own a Jeep too, and it's his fault, by the way.
Well, on the House floor too. I mean, there's a decorum you have to meet. You can't just go up there and start throwing boulders at people. But if I don't win the battle against a Democrat, that's fine. Right. But they're going to earn it.
Right.
They're going to earn every bit of it. And that's one of the things I hear continuously here in this county from the Democrat Party. And I've got plenty of friends that are Democrats, but they say they want change. So do we.
Yeah.
We want change too. And I know sometimes our commissioners take a beating over land use laws and zoning and that type of thing. And I sit here and I go, that is state law. Those are things that come down from the state. The counties have to meet the minimum of whatever the state law is, and they can exceed it if they want, which our county does. One of the nice things, even though Commissioner Boyce and I have not always seen eye to eye on every single issue, we see eye to eye on most things. But one of the things he told me, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, he said, even if it's something that isn't necessarily permitted, we always want to argue to get to yes.
Right.
Right. So, and I think all of our commissioners are that way. When you have a problem that you're dealing with, whether it be a permitting issue, maybe a zoning issue, if there's a way to argue to yes, they will do that for
Absolutely.
you, and they will err on the side of the community. That is something that does not happen in Multnomah County.
No. Yeah, actually, they go to no.
they,
Yeah.
they work to the ideals that they have, and those ideals typically are centered around environmental issues or DEI issues or whatever else. In this county, we don't, again, I'm speaking for people that are, way above me, but you're rewarded in this county for your merits, right? Not for because of DEI, right?
Well, and our elected officials here, you included in that, they actually care about the community. They care about you.
Yeah, we live in it.
Yeah, and it's not about agenda. It's about protecting us from the agenda, that we've suffered through with this gun bill. We've suffered through with the referendum. These guys are doing the battle that we can't do. They're taking the arrows for us. And I think people need to take a closer look and actually call their representative, call their commissioners. I have a question for a commissioner. I call them and they will call you back.
Or me.
Yeah.
I mean, I get phone calls all day long.
Oh yeah, I give your phone call out every day.
This position isn't one of those that I just get to look at the title and talk about my ego. I mean,
Right.
Literally, I don't, and I'm happy to meet with people, and I hope that people don't feel that they can't, because it's one of those things where when you realize our agenda and what we actually have to do every day, it's like, of course you don't do it for the money. There's no money in this. We do it for the people. I absolutely work for the people. I think our commissioners work for the people, and hell, for that matter, I think our sheriff works for people.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think I've met a more caring sheriff. I mean, he catches bullets to everybody. We all have our critics, and that's fine. I mean, people have different opinions. That doesn't mean they're bad people. That just means they're different opinions.
Mine's waiting for me to take her to dinner.
Well, there you go. Well, at least you got one.
I know, right? And I'm grateful.
Yeah. Gosh, I was so excited to get Chris Dudley on the show tonight. I didn't really come up with a whole lot of other stuff on the agenda.
Well, I have another event.
Yeah, what's that?
So everybody, put this on your calendar. I'll have the pricing details next week for you. June 27th, our All-American Republican barbecue at Melrose Vineyards. June 27th. It's our annual big fundraiser. If I have my way, I'm pretty good at getting these guys. We're going to have all of our Republican primary winners, and hopefully our 3 commissioners. I'm just going to come around and say, I'm voting for all 3 current commissioners, no matter what somebody else has heard. I'm endorsing Tim, Chris. And
Well,
Tom.
I think our Republican Party is supporting our
Absolutely.
commissioners.
Absolutely.
There is a bunch of nonsense going on out there in the background that I don't understand it, but whatever.
Beyond that, it's going to be great. We're going to have all these guys speaking, and even the gubernatorial winner, whoever that may be. I've been behind the scenes talking to the campaigns, going, "Hey, this is a big deal." Usually, last year we had over 200 people at our event. This is going to be more centered around celebrating 250 years as a country.
Yeah.
Because the 4th of July is next weekend. We're going to have a great auction.
Roasting a pig?
No, we're doing hamburgers and hot dogs.
No, you better.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to work that hard. Even though I love roasting a pig, I love doing that stuff. But this is going to be more celebratory for you guys and celebrating the country and the freedoms that we have. And like I said, I've got a great auction. I've got great items I'm putting together right now.
Good.
So see me next week for details.
So just in case anybody wants to know what I've been up to, I went to Representative Younker's kickoff party in Grants Pass.
That was fun.
That was a ruckus party. It was, oh man, was it good.
Yeah.
I was like, Dwayne, of course, is a good friend, but I was surprised at the turnout. It rivaled mine.
Yeah.
So it's just like pretty amazing.
Had a lot of Douglas County folks.
We had a lot of Douglas County folks come down to Grants Pass for Representative Younker's kickoff. So that was
high school was well represented.
Very, very well represented. And also then after that, we went to Representative Scarlato's kickoff in Medford. It was in Medford City. another amazing event as well. And gosh, since then, I just finished a meeting with UCAN, or not UCAN, Head Start, I should say, in Sutherland. Today, that was yesterday. Today, another meeting with the police department. There's just really, really busy schedule. And on top of the fact that I'm also running my business. So it's been pretty busy.
Yeah.
Life's never boring. So I don't have anything else really to speak of tonight. I know we're cutting a little bit early, but you got anything else?
Oh man, I'm excited, Oregon, for what's going on in Douglas County. And I'm going to say this again, and I told you I'd say this every week. Go talk to somebody. Tell them we have a chance. Better than my grandpa used to say, better than a spitter's chance of winning.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you got to get out and vote, and quit listening to the people that tells you your vote don't count.
Your vote does.
When you don't vote, your vote doesn't count. So, and this is the grumpy old guy in me.
You are old.
I
No, I'm
know.
just kidding.
I'm enjoying it
A
too.
couple things. I don't generally endorse anybody until after the primary, but in this case, I have more announcements. But tonight, I did come out and endorse Dan Farrington, who's running for Ed Deal's old spot, and we actually sent him a little bit of money and met with him this week as well. I forgot to mention that.
Right.
Also, Claire Lynn, who's running for Boomer Wright's spot.
That's
Because
right.
Boomer's retiring.
She's
And,
great, by the way.
She is great, and she is, I'm endorsing her.
Yep.
I've worked with her in the house for almost all the entire time I've been there. She knows the business. She knows the house. So Dan Farrington and Claire Lynn, you both have my vote and my endorsement for what that's worth. And moving forward, of course, the commissioners, I'm happy to endorse the three of them as well.
Yep.
I am pretty much out of topics. I appreciate all of you guys joining us tonight. It was nice to get Chris Dudley on the show. I've met him in person. The guy's taller than I am. Like I said, I don't know yet who is going to win the governor's race. Ed Deal is a great guy. He and I are very good friends. We work together on a lot of stuff. Danielle Bethel's been on our show a few times. I think right now, it's hard to say, but the field is starting to the cream is coming to the top, so to speak. From what I saw in Coos Bay here this last week when they had their forum over there, I think it was pretty clear who the serious candidates, at least of those three, who the serious candidates were. And frankly, Ed did an amazing job and came off as a governor.
Yep.
I mean, he answered questions well. He kept us cool. And I think that Danielle she's brilliant. I mean, she's a commissioner. She's smart. She understands leadership. The only unfortunate thing with her is she's in a field of folks that are just tough, good competitors.
Yeah.
I've asked Senator Drazen to come on the show a few times, and she hasn't accepted my offer. So
Man,
I don't know why.
You're pissing people off.
Well, I don't think I pissed her off. I mean, I've worked with her for quite some time, so I don't know. I can't speak for Senator Drazen. She needs to, I guess, come on the show and if she's really serious about at least getting the support of this part of Oregon, I think she needs to come on the show and we need to talk. So I'm going to just hold off on my endorsement for governor, but I am a betting man, and I think I've come up with the percentage in my mind who I think is going to win. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, with that said, thank you everybody for joining us. Please like and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, wherever you like to watch your podcasts. We're hitting over 1 million people every 90 days. Feel free to log into YouTube. Find us on, this is live on YouTube now, but it'll stay on YouTube probably forever until we delete it. And this will stay up for 30 days on Facebook as well. So we love our followers. Thank you guys for following us. The more you follow us, the more successful this show becomes, the more your voice gets to be heard out there. And we're going to keep on doing it. So thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you in a week. Take care.
Thanks, guys.